We'll do at 6. Renderings show a proposed Marin housing community atop beautiful Tiburon Ridge. But those plans are getting some major pushback. Right now, that land is home to dozens of hiking trails, and a lot of people assume those trails are public. It turns out they're on private property. KPIX 5's Emily Turner live in Tiburon, where people are rallying against the land's owner. Emily?
Alan, the Martha Company is who owns this piece of property, and no one contests that, but a lot of people still use it, and they say it feels like it's a little bit theirs. They don't want a development, and they don't want any more housing to go on this piece of land. With a view this beautiful, it's easy to understand why the battle over its future has become so bitter and drawn on for decades. The debate drew a full house to the Marin County's Board of Supervisors meeting, most of them opponents to the proposed housing development.
This property has remained undeveloped for a long time for good reason.
Any number one of these issues could really derail this project.
The development is slated to include 43 homes on a parcel of land that sits on the southeast end of the Tiburon Peninsula. The parameters have been laid out by a federal court and given a timeline of approval by the Board of Supervisors. But as time ticks down, a solution doesn't seem clear.
And the public continues to claim that they want it for open space and that they'll buy it, but they haven't come forward with an offer. And they use this process to diminish the value so that they can buy it for a cheaper price.
This piece of property has been in and out of court since 1975, and it's easy to see why when you're up here. There are trails where clearly the locals use it and enjoy it. And then once you get to the top, you can see the Golden Gate Bridge, the city skyline, and Angel Island all from one spot. The holdup has to do with traffic concerns, landslide stability, fire mitigation, construction, and a number of other issues the Environmental Impact Report sets out to assess. But the county has yet to ratify it, despite a federal ruling that they do so by October 3rd, and despite the fact Marin County is in a self-proclaimed housing crisis.
You heard in the public testimony today and some of the comments from the supervisors that, you know, this is in my backyard and I don't want it to change.
What do you say to people who argue we need more housing, this is zoned for housing, build it?
Well, that's always a controversy, and it's always a challenge. You know, but in the Bay Area here, this is the first place with the Bay Conservation Development Corporation, the very first place in the world where they decided that community shared value of resources, in that was the case with the Bay, were more important than individual owners' rights.
And there is one solution that might make, if not everyone, at least most of the parties happy, and that would be putting this piece of property in with the open space district of Marin County. But in order for that to happen, the county as well as the locals involved need to raise the money to pay the landowner for this parcel. And whether or not they can do that in an adequate amount of time remains to be seen. Alan?
And Emily, we have reported many times about how the state may force counties to build more housing, but Marin in particular is against it, right?
We've seen that from every level, from the state assembly all the way down to the local level, just like this one. I mean, Assemblyman Mark Levine attached a portion of a bill to the state budget saying Marin County is exempt, the only county in the state, from the state's requirements for affordable housing, all the way down to federally subsidized housing in Section 8, where a group there got that designated as a historic site so that they couldn't increase the density there. Here, most people believe on the broad scheme of things, yes, we need more housing, and yes, it needs to be affordable, but when it comes to their backyard, they don't seem to be quite so amenable.